What is up, heroes? It's Midnight Zero, and welcome back to Let's Play 999 Blind. In the last episode, we made our way to the elevator and had quite the conversation with you. There was a very interesting misunderstanding, and I know I enjoyed it, and it seems quite a few of you did as well from the comments. And thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts. And thank you to those of you that reached out to me, actually, in regards to some of my comments in the previous episode, with regards to feeling down lately and the studying and all. I do feel a little bit more energized now. Lizzie just visited for this past weekend, so I got to spend some quality time with her when I wasn't studying, and we were able to celebrate Valentine's Day, have a date night and everything, and it was energizing. It was the least productive I've been over the past couple of months. However, they were some of the happiest days I've had over the past couple of months, which really elicits, part of why I have been feeling down as of late. But regardless, June thinks she can hear the elevator opening on E-Deck.
それじゃあとはまた逆三角形のボタンを押せば
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again. A few moments later, the elevator returned. Looks awfully dry to me.
やっぱり中には水滴一つ見当たらない
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See? Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest. Just a little bit. Gotta show off for June, June, however, still looked confused.
どういうことでしょう
What does that mean?
E デッキは水没してるのにその下の E デッキは無事ってことですか
How can the E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water? I mean, it's possible the decks themselves are isolated, and really, even on the same floor, the same level of the ship, the water could be isolated to one particular area.
らしいな
Well, here's what I
お
think.
そらく E デッキの一部とエレベーターのシャフトは密閉構造になってるんだろ
The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been
うこんな感じ
punctured.
で
Here, let me show you. Now I'll show you. He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration. Wow, getting real.
なるほどだからこの船は浮いていられるんですね
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? I love the drawing. It's like, really needed to draw that one
ちょう
out.
どフラスコを水に沈めたような形になってるから
The shape of the inside keeps it from all filling with water?
ああ多分そういうことだろ
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket, puffed out his chest a little bit more because, it just had to flex.
うというわけだから俺はちょっと下の様子を見てくるよお前はここで待機を
So, I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, alright?
でも
But,
いいから言った通りにするんだ
come on, just do it, alright? Junpei, taking the rein. He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped onto the elevator. And that was the last we heard of him. He pushed the E button, and the door began to close. Just out of curiosity, nothing happens when you hit the E key on the keyboard. I figured that would be a really interesting place to put a Easter egg or something. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
私も行きます
I'm coming with you! Huh? At the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
あおいちょっと待て
Hey, wait! Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late. Dun-dun! I understand wanting to go one at a time. You're kind of hedging your
し
bets,
まった
right? Junpei thinks it's going to be safe, but should it not be safe, rather than have both of them die or be trapped or whatever it may be, just one of them has that, and the other one is able to infer that it didn't go so hot when the other person doesn't return for the next, 45 minutes or hour or ever, really. Crap, it closed. The door had shut, he and June were in the elevator, and it was headed down to E deck. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
つい乗っちゃいました
Aw, I can't just let you go alone,
お前な
Jeez. It's good to be playing 999 again. I wanted to play with Lizzie, as I'm sure some of you did as well. But realistically speaking, we just weren't able to fit it in with the time, and don't want to force things because that, well, doesn't make for the most enjoyable experience for either us or yourselves. The elevator stopped and the door slid open. Looks awfully bland down here. They tentatively stepped out and looked
異
around.
常はないみたいだな。
It looks normal. No fish going about their fishy business or a jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish. Or at least something that looked very much like one, huh? Mrs. Puff? June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth a tiny, intense frown. Oh my god. Please tell me June anticipated that they might be underwater or something like that and was in preparation holding her breath.
大丈夫だよ。やっぱりこの辺りは水没を免れてるんだ。
And please, that's what June was referring to with the pufferfish, right? Right? That had to be. If so, June from this point on is Mrs. Puff. Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part isn't flooded.
見りゃわかんだろうがそのぐらい。
Come on, just look around. There's no water here. June looked around nervously, then exhaled. June, you are too funny.
全く浸水してませんね。
You're right. It's not flooded at all. I just... The thought process there, as if, like, you wouldn't be flooded in the elevator, and then as soon as the door opened, you'd instantaneously be filled with water to the point of not being able to even realize you're underwater. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's comedic, though. I'll take it.
だろ
See? Also, people aren't rational, especially when they're scared, so...
この上には何トンもの水の塊が。
But there's a whole lot of water.
ああ、乗っかってることになるな。
Yeah, right on top of
も
us.
しも天井が抜け落ちてきちゃったらどうします？
What's going to happen if the ceiling breaks? Well, it'll flood and you'll probably drown. Not much to do about it. Junpei thought about that for a moment.
多分、上から濡れる。
Well, we'd probably get really wet up there. Huh?
とにかく、この辺りを調べたらすぐに引き返そう。
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here.
ヤシロとサンタはもう戻ってるかもしれないし。
Lotus and Santa might already be
わ
back.
かりました。了解です。
Okay, good idea.
さてと、
Now then. Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. Are we going to be escaping? Or no? Okay. I thought they were going to do the dun, 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 find a way out, Granted, it's not like we've really been trapped yet. For all we know, the elevator still functions right behind us. The first thing you noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
鉄格子か。ここは抜けられそうもないな。
To be fair, those bars look pretty wide. I feel like I could fit between those, and I'm a pretty big guy. Iron bars. Well, we can't go over there. Right?
逆側はどうだ？
Then maybe... In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening. Well, he walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
こっちは長い直線通路になってるみたいです。
It looks like there's a long, straight hallway down this way.
突き当たりのドアに何か書いてあるな。
I wonder what it is.
まさかあれは。
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
確かめに行きましょう。
Let's check, as if we couldn't tell from over here. Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. I appreciate this specification. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint. Wow, what a surprise.
やっぱりだ。
I knew it.
ナンバリングドアですね。
This is a numbered door. Your name is June. And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door. And it's
でも
vacant.
二人だけではどうすることもできませんね。
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
戻ろう。みんなに知らせるんだ。
We better head back and let everyone know. Is that all there is to explore down here?
はい。
Yes. Junpei and June turned and headed back to C deck.
Huh?
Wait, what's this? On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall. Is it
壁にかかってる
different?
これ。E デッキの船内マップか。
Is this the map for E deck?
念のため持っていくか。
I should take it with me. Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea, right? So that was all there was to going downstairs?
そっちは1か。
There was just that hallway? Huh? So you guys found door 1. And what, there are 4 of us at the moment? They'd met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another number door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that the Earth Key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
これで俺たちは新たに6の扉と1の扉を発見したってことになるのか。
So now we've located 2 new doors, the 6th door and the 1 door.
それにしてもEデッキが水没してなかったとは驚きね。
It is interesting that E deck wasn't flooded. Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
いいデッキの全部が無事かどうかはわからないよ。
Yep, well, we don't really know if all of E deck is safe. That said, given there's a numbered door down there, I'd imagine Zero anticipated that people would eventually travel down there, and all the necessary parts of that floor are probably not going to be flooded until the rest of the ship has sunk and you're arguably dead when that time goes out, so I wouldn't really worry about it at this point.
俺たちが見たのはエレベーターの周辺だけだし。
We only checked the area around the
だ
elevator.
としても同じよ。驚愕の事実であることに変わりはないわ。
Even so, it's still very
しかも
interesting.
通路の先には6の扉があったんだろ
You said the 6th door was there, right?
って
Yes.
ことはゼロはこうなることを全部計算に入れた上で
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the
この
sinking.
船を大改造したってことになる
That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's
とて
interior.
も正気の沙汰とは思えないわね。
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
そうですね。
It's a lot of planning, that's for sure.
一体どれだけの時間とお金をかけたんでしょう。
Yeah, I wonder how long it took. Can't even imagine how much it must have
お
cost.
そらく天文学的な数字だろうな
Would have been a ton, that's for
だ
sure.
とするとやっぱり一宮が言っていたように
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying.
どこかの莫大な資金を持った組織による犯行と見るのが自然かな。
The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
そうかもしれないわね。
Yes, it does make sense. That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. I see they're all quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off in the distance at nothing. Cracking your neck is such a great feeling. I do that all the time. My mom is pretty grossed out by it, though. Understandably, I can see why people maybe are, cringe at the habit, but it does feel nice. Granted, it doesn't actually really do much. Looking at the data, stuff like cracking your back and your fingers and your neck, it's always reported to have like a good feeling, or a feeling, or it feels relaxing or good, or people feel relieved after it. But long term, it actually doesn't really have an impact on something like pain or stiffness or something like that. It's more of a placebo than anything, at least from the data I've seen. Not that it's actually that well studied, but regardless, that was a tangent that probably wasn't necessary. Yeah.
そろそろ帰らないとまずいんじゃないでしょうか。
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here. And why is that, June? June looked up at Junpei with large, pleading eyes.
ああ、そうだな。一宮たちが戻ってきてるかもしれないし。
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
1の扉なら私と紫と純平くんで開けるけどね。
Well, June, Junpei, and I should be able to open door 1.
あ俺を置き去りにするつもりか
Huh? You guys leaving me behind? 8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1.
冗談よ。
Just kidding.
さあ、行きましょう。
Really? I don't know. Like I said, I still don't trust Lotus. She could have just very well been probing to see if, June and Junpei were feeling anxious or wanted to move ahead or something like that. And Lotus might have been ready to do so had they been on ship. But because they weren't, she can play it off as just kidding, Still not really trusting her by any means. Regardless, Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. It makes it seem like we're about to be trapped in here. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
おいてめえら一体どこに行ってたんだ
Hey, where the heck did you guys go? It was Seven.
セブン
Seven? Huh? Ace was right behind him and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
なんだ
What's wrong? It looked as though there was something strange about them. Seven had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. Did they find Snake or something? For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at Seven.
何かあったのか
What happened?
あったどころの騒ぎじゃねえんだよバカ野郎
What the heck kind of question is that? Seven was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him. Hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
ニルスがな
Snake was...
ニルスが
Snake is... Seven couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
ニルスが死んでたんだよ
Snake is dead. Was he behind the
9
door?
番の男のようなむごい姿で
He died just as the ninth man did. Huh? Did he try to go into a room? It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. I highly doubt that Snake would try to do that, though. That seems irrational at this point. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white. Talk about how dramatic this music is.
嘘でしょ
Oh my god. That's not true, is it?
とにかく私たちも確かめに行きましょう
Lotus, really? Really? We should make sure. That is not the right reaction. Everybody's like, this person is dead, this person is dead. And everybody's like, oh. And then leave it to Lotus to be like, really though? Let's make sure.
ああそうだな
Yeah, right. We should... They nodded to one another and headed for the number 3 door.
あ違うそっちじゃねえ
Wait, not that way.
何 ?3 の扉じゃないのか
What? Why not? They stopped short and turned to look at Seven. He was pointing at the door with no number.
ドアの間にドライバーをかませておいた
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way.
ロックはかかってねえからそっちの数字の書かれてない方のドアから入れ
It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
その先は
Where is he?
現場は通路の左手にあるシャワー室の中だ
The shower room, on the left side of the
そこ
hallway.
のドアにも同じようにほうきの絵が挟み込んである
I put a broom in there too, to keep the door open.
つまりナンバリングドアを通らなくても出口の方からそのシャワー室とやらに入れるってことだな
Oh, that's a pretty neat idea. That means we can get in without going through the numbered door,
あ
right?
あそうだ
Yeah, that's right.
そういうことなら決まりだな行こう
Then let's go. Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left
このドア
wall.
かさっき通った時には開かなかったやつだな
This wasn't open when we passed here before. But now, just as Seven had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
それじゃ進むぞ
Well, let's keep going. I guess brace yourself if you're squeamish. They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
ひどい匂いね
Ugh, it smells horrible. Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
本当にひどいな吐きそうだぜ
Yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke. It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. Yikes. Quite the combo. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat to pound against the entrance to his stomach. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged. Where is he? Where's Snake? I don't know if I sounded much different, but I intentionally pinched my nose to honor Junpei's voice acting. I doubt it's a coincidence that L, L, and R are written on the wall there. They didn't have to wonder where the body was. There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked in through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider. June, you should stay here. Yeah, I'd agree with that judgment call for, I don't know, just a sneaking suspicion, but June might not handle this sort of a thing very well. But please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright? He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder, as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole. Huh? Turned and walked toward the end of the divider. Going in. Oh, here we go. It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded, slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it. The description, the use of these analogies is excellent. Just like Ace said. Santo's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own. Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut. Something worth noting is that we only know, or I think what's tempting is to assume that Snake tried to do what the ninth man did. But in reality, all he had to do was break a rule in order to meet such a fate. So we don't really know exactly why he ended up this way, just that he broke a rule, and obviously there are quite a few of them, so it looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm. It's definitely an open fracture. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces. The face is horrible. Yeah. You can't even tell who it is. Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks. But the clothes they were all familiar to Junpei. No mistake about that. It's Snake. Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. Almost comforting to see that she cares. Meanwhile, what's going on now? The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Is he laying on the bed because he passed out or something? Every time it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest, understandably so. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
おそらくニルスは殺されたんだろ
Snake was probably murdered.
う。あの9番の男が死んだ時と同じような状況に追い込まれてな。
Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was. Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. The question is, if he was murdered, one, by who, right? If we're thinking maybe, like, the easy cop-out answer is like, oh, he was murdered by Zero, but that's probably not the case. If he was murdered by one of the other, players, I guess you could say, or one of the other members of this ordeal, it's hard to imagine how one person would set Snake up to be in such a position to break the rules, or force them to break the rules in such a way that they get punished, right? Because more than two people have to go through a door, so if it were to, break the rules in the exact same manner the ninth person did, I feel like there would have to be two people in on the murder, not just a single murderer, which is not impossible. It's just, I think, less likely in this situation. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn, and continued.
やった方法は実に単純明快だ。簡単に説明することができる。
I guess I stand corrected. It's pretty straightforward, not that hard to figure out how they did it.
まず犯人たちはニルスと共にレッドで認証を行い3の扉を開いた。
First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3.
その奥へとニルスだけをぶち込んだんだ。
Then they shoved him into it, alone.
その9秒後、自動的に扉が閉鎖。
And waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Wouldn't the other people who activated or authenticated also face a repercussion? I know the ninth man didn't, but I forget what the exact rule was that allowed for that kind of loophole. Is it that if you can authenticate, but if you don't enter the door, you don't get punished? But I thought every person who authenticated had to contribute and, reach the dead at the end. Or is it everybody who enters the door? I don't recall 100%.
孤立したニルスになす術はない。それでも奴は諦めなかった。
Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake, but he didn't give up.
無駄だとは知りながらも、デッドを求めてシャワー室へと飛び込んでいった。
He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead.
藁にもすがる思いでな。
It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. It's also worth noting he can't even see, so he's really at a disadvantage here when he's looking for something like the dead.
だが、掴んだ藁は所詮は藁だ。
Unfortunately, it didn't work.
デッドで認証を行っても、バングルの起爆タイマーが停止するわけはなかった。
The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Although, still under this situation, there would have to be 2 murderers.
それには、レッドで認証を受けた者、全員がデッドに触れなければならない。
Snake was the only one who went through the door.
そして、ゲートをくぐってから81秒が経過。
And then 81 seconds after he was shoved in,
その結果が
kaboom! That
なるほ
happened.
ど。だから犯人たちなんだな。
I see, so that's what you meant by killers, huh?
ナンバリングドアを開くにはニルスを含めて3人以上は必要だ。
You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including
犯
Snake.
人1人とニルスだけでは扉は絶対に開けない。
It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
そういうことだ。
Yeah,
要するに単独犯じゃなくて複数犯ってことになる。
that means we're looking at multiple perps here. Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
念のため確認しておきたい。
Well, just in case, I want to make sure.
もしも今の推理が正しいとするなら、ニルスが殺されたのはいつだろう。
Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed? Is there a way to look at the rules? We've got a few different pages here. Escape tips, file screen controls, calculator controls, controls during story sections, special functions, the medical record. Doesn't seem I can actually take a look at the rules, which is a bit of a bummer. Is there something else in the menu I'm not 100% sure on? No? Okay. Not the end of the world, I guess, but I'd like to be able to confirm that. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was
全
killed?
員で分かれてレッドの基盤を探してた時だろうな。
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. I don't remember how everybody split up, right? But we need a group of 3. And then, of those 3, Snake didn't return, but a pair did. I think the obvious, or like, not obvious, but the tempting thing is to say, oh, Lotus and Snake, not Lotus and Snake, Lotus and Santa have been together the entire time, and Lotus is super suspicious. So I'd be the quickest, at least, to point my fingers there, but
ニルスがいなくなってるのに気づいたのはその後のことだ。
right after that was when we noticed he was
って
gone.
ことは、全員のアリバイがなかったことになるよな。
Then that means none of us have
み
alibis.
んなそれぞれ自分の担当箇所に分かれて基盤を探してたわけで。
We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those
だ
parts.
ね。
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
ちょっと待ってください。二人ともどうかしてますよ。
Of course, June is the one who can't take it. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? June seemed shocked.
なんだか当たり前みたいに平然と言ってますけど、
How can you say that so casually?
それって私たちの中に犯人がいるってことでしょう。
You're implying that one of us is a killer. No, 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 June. We're not implying that one of us is a killer. We're implying that 2 of us are killers.
ああしかも1人だけじゃない。2人以上は確実にいることになる。
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
よさないかセブン。
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? Seven seems pretty calm to me now.
こんなところで猜疑心を煽ってどうする。それこそゼロの思うツボだろ。
What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know. I don't think he's being suspicious at all. He's just laying down the facts of like, this is what it means, right? This is what we can probably deduce based on the likelihood of how Snake died. And that is the fact, that is the reality of our situation right now. There is a really good chance that 2 of us are murderers, and it's worth keeping in mind as we move forward. It's not that we have to sit down and, you know, go all Ace Attorney and investigate or anything like that, but it's worth keeping in mind.
ゼロの思うツボ。
What Zero wants?
そうとも。これは奴の仕掛けてきたゲームなんだぞ。
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? I mean, we're led to believe that. For all we know, the person who set it up could actually be one of us, manipulating our moves as we go around, and maybe that's how they want to enjoy it, right?
ゲームであるからには必ず勝者と敗者が生まれる。
Any game has a winner and a loser.
9の扉に入れた者が勝者、あぶれた者が敗者だ。
Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. I guess that is worth noting. For all we know, we've only seen recordings of Zero, right? And we don't know Zero's voice, we don't know anything about Zero's appearance. For all we know, Zero could have pre-recorded messages and actually be posing as one of the 9 people here and manipulating things from inside the game. That would be pretty neat.
奴はその勝敗を我々に競わせようとしてるんだ。
Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
つまり意図的に内部分裂を起こさせようと。
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
そういうことだ。
Yes.
だからこそ我々は疑心暗鬼に陥ってはならないんだ。
That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to
互い
suspicion.
を信頼し結束を固めなければならない。
We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. I disagree. I think there's a healthy level of suspicion you can have while appreciating one's abilities and working together in a more functional manner or perfunctory manner to accomplish goals, but not necessarily be all hunky-dory and best friends with one another.
そうしなければゼロの思惑通りになってしまうからね。
Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
ってことはニルスを殺したのも
Then, does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
ああ、おそらくゼロだろう。
Yes, almost certainly Zero himself.
というかだな、そもそもまず真っ先に疑うべきなのはゼロだろう。
If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. So now we've got an introduction of a second school of thought, right? Zero could kill anyone, right? Zero could have just said, you know what, sorry Snake, you're the sacrificial lamb here. I want to use you to raise suspicion amongst all the other people because it'll make the game a lot more entertaining. So, regardless of whether or not you break a rule, you're gonna die. And that's how it goes. And as a result, there isn't a murderer amongst us, but because of the context, and potentially not considering that Zero could have killed them, we're gonna suspect there are a couple murderers amongst us, and then, you know, that's gonna tear us apart from the inside. I can understand that line of thought. That said, I'm not sure Zero would be so willing to break his own rules, or Zero could alone do this, would need to be working with someone else, right? If he's going to abide by his own rules. We don't know that he's really bound by them in the same manner, though, so I can't speak to that 100%. Really, like, let's be real, we don't have a lot to go off of here. We don't have enough information to make anything conclusive. It's basically, should we assume this? Where does this line of logic lead us? Should we assume this? What is this end result? Which do we think is the most reasonable assumption to make at this time? And do we believe in that enough to work on that going forward? Or do we not really have either, you know, that we can confidently believe in, and so we should just consider that both are possibilities until we develop enough evidence to lean towards one more so than the other? I think that's more so the strategy at the moment. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well? Good question. Junpei hadn't really considered that. If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us. Like I've mentioned before, though, it is also possible that both Zero and one of our 9 numbered friends killed Snake because they are one and the same. Junpei. Was Zero still on the ship with them? I mean, I wasn't sure, right? It's definitely not, of course, because how can you really be sure, right? How can you say something with such confidence? I would say it's very probable at this point, given that the likelihood, you know, is that Zero would need to be here to maintain things, to run things. I would say I'm not sure. He wasn't sure. Something's still strange. What was that?
いや、一つだけ確認しておきたいことがあるんだが。
Well, I'm just wondering about one thing, and we're gonna find out what that one thing is in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was definitely some progress was made here, right? We got to find out finally what happened to Snake, and we have a lot of speculation going on about what are the inner workings of this game. What role is Zero playing? Who kills Snake? Is Zero one of us? Did one of us kill Snake? There's a lot of speculation going on. I appreciate that we're able to think about a lot of this, that we're able to try and imagine a lot of different possibilities. I am looking forward, though, to some more concrete evidence that could make all of this speculation into a little bit more concrete deduction. And who knows, maybe you guys are too. If you do know, as I'm sure many of you do, what is going on, don't answer a lot of my questions regarding the speculation, because that would be a spoiler. So please do respect that I'm trying to figure this out for myself, and as the game permits, with the natural pacing of the game and such. And I think that just about hits the 30 plus 10 mark I definitely went over a little bit. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. But until then, this is Midnight Zero, and this mission is complete.